Our guest today is the dynamic, awe-inspiring, extraordinary Paolo Presta. Paolo is the founder and host of 7-time Telly Award-winning and Webby-nominated online talk show, A Spoonful of Paolo, which is going on its 14th season. He's also a very dear friend. Paolo was discovered by Oprah Winfrey and brings his passion for talk shows and dreaming big to his fans in his authentic, intimate, and oftentimes emotional interviews. You don't want to miss this.
Welcome to Tell Me More and Then Some.
I'm Alina.
And I'm Angeline.
Join us as we dive deep into the topics that fuel our conscious evolution and keep us learning as students of life.
We invite you to come along and share the ride. We hope you're empowered to learn and grow into the best and most authentic version of yourself. We're so happy you're here. Let's go.
Hi, Paolo.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Oh my God. Thank you both for having me. I'm so honored and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're our first guest.
Yes, this is the first time. Wow, we're honored that you made time to be here with us.
Are you sure you want me to be your first guest? Are
Yes.
you sure? Okay.
100.
Thank you guys. I'm so honored. I'm so excited and grateful. So I'm excited.
Should we talk about how we know you?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember how we met the first time?
Yes.
Oh, tell me. Remind me.
We went to Cheesecake Factory.
We did go to Cheesecake Factory.
Was that the second time I met you or
Yeah.
first time?
I think the second time. It wasn't the first time at the mall.
Yes.
Like when you came across where you worked into that store. Yeah.
I worked at L'Occitane.
Yes. Yes.
And you were dating someone that I went to high school with.
Yep. Yep.
And he worked at Gucci at the time. And I came over and said hello, and you were just smiles and just your lovely self.
Oh my God.
And then we went to like the Cheesecake Factory.
And we
After that.
and I think we hit it off because I thought, wow, like who's this beautiful girl? Like so fun and such good energy. And I just clicked with you. So I cannot believe decades later, here we are. And I'm a guest on your show. Like you guys, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's been decades.
It's been decades.
I'm a fucking dinosaur.
Wait, am I a dinosaur? Really? What?
It's been an honor. It really
How
has.
special.
It is really special.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about your amazing show, A Spoonful of Paolo. And you really are the face of it. You're the host. You have some of the most amazing guests like Gloria Estefan, Andy Cohen, Gail King, Brooke Shields, Julie Andrews, Sterling K. Brown, Mandy Moore. The list goes on. And of course, we can't forget Oprah. Not only did you interview Oprah, the two of you are friends, and she recently asked you to present at the 2024 GLAAD Media Awards in LA, and she was the recipient of GLAAD's Vanguard Award. Do you mind sharing a bit about that experience with us?
Yeah, it was one of the greatest days. You know, when I found out that GLAAD was going to be presenting the Vanguard Award to Oprah Winfrey, I literally that morning when GLAAD announced it, I looked at my husband, Patrick, and I said, oh, I want to go. I want to be part of this because if anyone deserves this award, it's Oprah Winfrey. I mean, she changed my life, not just in the dream aspect, but just who I am, that I get to be my authentic self. And so Patrick and I, we looked at tickets, but it was so expensive going to LA and going to be a part of the GLAAD Awards. You have to buy a ticket just to eat. And when you're talking about $50, it's a lot more. But then later that day, Oprah's publicist sent me a text just saying, hey, you saw that Oprah's going to be receiving this award. We're really happy and we're really proud of her. And I said, Chelsea, her publicist, I'm really proud of her too. I can't believe this. And then a couple of hours later, she called my phone and she's like, Paolo. And I said, hey. And she's like, and I'm like, hey, Chelsea. And she's like, as you know, Oprah's getting this award and Oprah would like you to be a part of it, you and your husband. She wants you and Patrick to be guests on her table. And I lost it. I said, wait, Oprah Winfrey wants us to be guests sitting with her at her table during this award show? And she's like, yes. And I got emotional. And then she's like, and there's something else. I'm like, And then she's like, what?
There's more?
There's more to this? And then she said, also, would you be one of the presenters to give Oprah the Vanguard Award?
Wow.
And to give a speech. And I got very emotional because I felt so honored. And I was like, are you sure she doesn't want Ricky Martin? Or Ellen DeGeneres? I mean, Rosie O'Donnell. There's a lot of gay people, but no, I was one of the two people, and I was so honored. And they flew my husband and I, and we were part of that day. And it was one of the greatest days of our life that we will never forget. We did a whole vlog. It's on my Instagram, behind the scenes. We still can't believe that we got to be part of that.
But that says so much about you. Yes, like Ricky Martin, sure, he's famous and he's hot, but so are you.
Oh,
and right. You really are that beautiful, authentic person that you imprint so much of who you are on people and their souls, including Oprah. So absolutely, why not you? I'm not surprised.
Thank you.
She's a smart woman.
Yeah. And she's a kind, generous woman too, who literally changed, as you said earlier, she changed my life. So it was a full circle moment for us to be there to give her this award because, it just felt so right and it was perfect.
You did such a great job.
Oh.
I was so blown away.
Incredible.
Right? It was such a great speech. And then I loved when the camera flashed over to Patrick.
Oh my God.
And those beautiful eyes and that gorgeous smile. And she's like rubbing on him, on his shoulder. And he's just like, it's just me and Oprah.
Look, imagine I'm giving my speech. There's a teleprompter. I know what I'm going to say because it's coming from my heart. But when I'm talking about Oprah and I'm talking about my husband, I'm looking at them. So I have people in my mind talking to me saying, okay, do your speech, but also, oh my God, she's touching your husband. Oh my God, she's high-fiving your husband. I just like, where are we? What, like, is this I feel like I was in a dream.
Yeah.
And then it's like your wedding day. You just don't take it in until later on, like the next day or the day after. And I'm like, you're just soaking it all in. Like this really happened. Like this, I was on stage and I saw Oprah sitting with Patrick, high-fiving, laughing. It was the best. So thank you. Thank you both so much.
And I just have to add, I love that about your relationship with Patrick. Like he's just that person that is your biggest cheerleader. Like he's always there. He's the introvert in the relationship.
Yeah.
And he just loves having you in the spotlight. Like he just celebrates you and cheers you on. And I think even in that moment, it was just so beautiful to see him even recording you and just, he really is that person.
Honestly, like as I'm giving my speech, there's cameras, they're recording me because it's on Hulu. But Patrick has his phone, like recording with his phone as Oprah's trying to give him a high five. I was like, girl, put that phone down and high five Oprah. Like, what are you doing? But Patrick is amazing. I mean, I always say, a spoonful of Paolo. There would be no Spoonful of Paolo if there was no Patrick, because Patrick has done so much. He's the creative person. You see my face, as you said earlier, but as like any show, behind the show, there's the people who work so hard, and our show is only one person who works so hard, and it is my husband, and I'm so grateful to him. Is he next to me?
You got it.
Oh God, he told me to say that.
What a duo! I love it.
Duo. They really are a great duo.
You guys are inspiring. Paolo, I want to talk a little bit about your childhood.
Yes.
So I know you're born in Chicago, but you traveled back and forth to Italy.
Yes.
And so English was your second language.
Yes.
You were placed in special education classes during grade school, but it wasn't because you had learning challenges. It was because your school didn't offer ESL, English as a second language, classes.
Yeah, you hit it. That is true. When I tell people that story, it's really hard to believe because that probably wouldn't happen today. But back then, it was a different time. My parents spoke Italian. It was hard. We didn't really speak English as much, but it was my second language. And then so they thought at the time, and this was in first grade, to put me in these classes. Which, yes, they were a little bit easier, these classes, they go at a slow pace. Yeah. But I never felt like myself being in these classes. I always tell people it's literally like Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray. I felt like Tracy, like, why am I in these classes? I don't understand it. And I was in those classes first grade up until my first quarter freshman year of high school. I knew that I had to get staffed out because I knew that no college is going to want, my transcript, they're not going to want to take me. I won't be accepted. And I worked so hard, and the school had a problem with me leaving these classes, but God bless my mother. She was there next to me, and I got staffed out of those classes and got into regular classes. So they never showed up on my transcript in high school. Wow. And so I was able to go to a regular college, and it took a lot of hard work, but it paid off because I just knew, my brother was in the classes too. He's a year older than me, but he's not going to go to college. For him, he's like, this is cool. I'll be in these classes. He didn't care. Yeah. But I knew that I want to go to college, and this is not me. And I just had to work hard, and it paid off. And I'm so glad. But yeah, I was in those classes from first to high school.
I can't.
Wow. It's not because you were dyslexic or because...
I know.
I mean, I don't know what.
And there were kids in these classes who had challenges, and I saw them. And honestly, I still keep in touch with some of my teachers from those classes. They're my friends on Facebook. I have two particular ones that I just love and adore because for me, like Oprah Winfrey always says, teachers are just that's one of the hardest jobs. They do so much for their students. And those two teachers for me, they changed my life, because they were always there for me and I loved them, but I just knew that something didn't feel right being in these classes.
Mm. Weren't you in ESL?
I was, yeah.
But didn't
my school actually offered it, but they taught me Assyrian in my ESL classes.
Instead of
English. It was me and one other boy, and that's all we did. I learned the Assyrian alphabet.
Wow.
I'm not sure. Barney and Sesame Street were better teachers than my ESL classes. Yeah. Yeah, the school system kind of failed us. I'm sorry.
It was a public school, Paolo?
It was a public school, yeah. Public school.
Same.
Yeah, that's how it started. Yeah. Because they tried to do it with the next sibling, my sister, Philomena. They were going to do the exact same thing, but then my parents knew by that time, oh no, that's not happening to the next child. So then they stopped it, and they just had a speech tutor or teacher for her on the side, which helped her a lot. Nice. But yeah, they saw that it just put me back it just puts you back. That's the thing. So I had a lot of catching up to do to catch up to those normal classes, as they would say, when I got staffed out. So yeah.
Well, kudos to you.
And
thank
Mama,
you. And my mom. She was there. My counselor did not want me to get out of these classes. Her name was Mrs. Colmar. She does not work at Glenbrook South anymore.
We do not like you. Wherever you are.
She did not want me out of these classes. And I didn't.
Awful.
It was awful.
Wow.
She was my counselor. Mm-mm. But then my mom came with me to the school board, and she said, my son wants to try, give him a shot, give him a chance. And it worked.
And you were persistent. So good for you.
That's the key.
Yeah, that's
it. That was my word of the year. I think last year, the year before, persistent.
That's a good word.
I forgot it half of the year, but yeah. Okay.
You tried.
Okay.
So Paolo, we love this quote by Brene Brown. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we are supposed to be and embracing who we actually are. I'm going to say that one more time because I think I messed it up. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we are supposed to be and embracing who we actually are. And as Angelina and I were thinking about who to have as a guest to talk about doing the work to not only find our true self, but to also unmask yourself to the world in the most authentic and loving way, of course, you came to mind. Would you share what the unmasking experience was like, and if there was a moment or experience that changed everything for you?
Yeah, I grew up Catholic. So, I would go to church every Sundays. We talked about God, talked about Jesus. And I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. My older sister was engaged, married. My brother's a year older. He was engaged, getting married. So I thought, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do it. And I dated Casey, who's my best friend today. It's just like your Will and Grace. It's like the story of Will and Grace. Casey, I was engaged to a girl. We've been friends since 7th grade. In high school, we were friends in high school. We got closer. And then I asked her out, and we started going out. Everybody loves her. My family loved her. I really did. I do love Casey. And we were supposed to get married, but then something just didn't feel right. We were fighting a lot. And when I look back, and I've said this to Casey, that fighting was really because of me, because something in me knew that this didn't feel right. It's that thing Oprah always talks about, the little whisper, like you're going to change your life, but this didn't feel right. And so then we started seeing a therapist, Casey and I, and I remember we had a couple sessions, and then the therapist wanted to see me alone. And so I saw her alone, and then she from all the sessions, I guess, that we did with Casey and I did together, and then the ones with me alone, I think she just figured it out. She figured out that I was holding something so deep inside of me, and that was that I was gay. And she had literally said to me, Paolo, do you know that you're gay? And when she said that, like, I don't remember a lot of my childhood because I think I blocked out so many things, but I remember being in that chair and I remember crying so hard because I didn't want that to be true. I didn't want to disappoint Casey. I didn't want to disappoint my family. I mean, how could that be true? Like, you were not supposed to be this. That's what the church says. But here I am gay. And I was trying to hold those feelings. But you know what? It's the best thing ever coming out, because I literally would not be where I am today if I didn't do that. And it was the hardest thing. And, Casey and I had some time. We didn't talk for a little bit, but she's my best friend today because she understood me and my family. And it's a journey. It's a difficult journey, but when you get there, and it's like freedom. You feel free, and there's nothing better than being your authentic self. So, yeah.
Did you know what that question meant at the time?
I don't know if I really understood what she meant. I just knew the word gay, and I knew that, oh my God, it triggered something in me. It triggered, because for me to really cry and just for a long time crying and tears coming down, I just didn't want to be that. So I didn't understand the whole concept, because then I had to experiment and I had to go. I remember going to Boys Town, and I'm like, oh, wait, this is Boys Town. I remember.
Didn't she tell you to do that?
Yeah, she's the one who told me. I'm like, where is that? I even know where it was.
Yeah.
And I drove my car and I parked it. I'm like, this is so, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the city. Like, ooh, because I grew up in the suburbs.
How old were you at this point?
I was 21, 22, 23.
And so, like, you had all these thoughts, let's say, right?
Yeah.
When you were younger, of like, oh, he's cute.
Yeah,
Or
I thought, but they were like halfway there. Like, I would not allow
you would
them.
suppress it.
I would suppress it.
Like, it would come up for you, like, oh,
Yeah.
he's good looking, but then you'd push it down.
Exactly.
And be like, nope.
Yeah.
No, that's not good. That's a sin, maybe.
Yeah, it's sin. That's the number one thing, that it's sin. Don't do that. That's wrong. Jesus is not going to love you. God's not going to love you. And that's why, for any kid out there, like, who's listening, it's just, that's what they tell you, but it's not true, because, like, God is love. God is love. Jesus wants you to be who you are. He wants you to be your authentic self. He doesn't want you to hide it. He doesn't want you to be in a marriage that you don't even love the person. He doesn't, that's why would you live a life that is not true of you being your authentic self? Jesus was being authentic, So be your authentic self. You can get there. You will get there in time. It's not easy, but it's the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm curious. When you look back at that conversation with your therapist, what do you think it was that prevented you from denying it, right? Like, because before you had these little maybe whispers. I'm just curious, what was it in you that was like, you know what, I'm going to embrace this, and this is it?
Because I think it was a safe space for me, because I knew that this therapist who really didn't know me, I was not going to be judged. I was not going to be told that you're going to go to hell. I was not going to be told that that's disgusting, because, growing up, people, I got bullied like a lot of people did, and especially in the LGBTQIA community, you get bullied a lot. And I remember being called, faggot, getting shoved in the locker, getting tripped, getting pushed, getting made fun of, going to the special ed classes, like, people were just, they would make fun of me. And so it's like you suppress all of that, because then you try to be this other person that you're not, because you want to be the cool kid. You want everyone to like you. Yeah. But
and maybe you were just waiting for one person to give you permission.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Casey did ask me. I remember she asked me a couple of weeks before. It was outside in front of her mom and dad's house. And she had said to me, can I ask you something? And I'm like, oh my God, I know what she's going to ask me. And she said, are you gay? And I said, no. Right away. I said no right away.
Before the therapist?
Before the therapist. Before the therapist. She said, yeah. And I said no. And I believed it. I kind of believed it. No. And
because if you don't say it, then it's real,
exactly.
right? Like, if you say it's not real, then it's not real.
Yeah. But
as soon as you admit it to yourself,
it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Or to Casey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. And it was a different time. I mean, we're not that much older, but we're a little older than these, 20-some-year-olds. Like, we're from a different generation.
Yeah.
And I remember being in high school where nobody talked about being gay.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
And it was just a very different time.
And I didn't know anyone who was gay. Like when I look, I love like television to me is like such a sacred thing to watch TV, but I didn't know anyone who was gay. The only one I kind of knew was Mr. Brady. I remember where we lived in Glenview, and Mike Reed, who played Mike Brady, Robert Reed, who played Mike Brady, he had passed away and he had HIV. And then all the reports were coming out that he was gay. And I didn't understand it. But that was the only person I knew until someone like Ricky Martin or Lance Bass, when they started to come out. Then I felt, oh, okay, there's hope seeing their story.
I think it was George Michael for me.
Oh, George Michael, yeah.
I loved him. I loved Wham growing up.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you both.
So shifting a little bit, I know we all have fears or that little voice in our head that perhaps instills some doubt in our minds. And you are clearly someone who just goes for it, and you don't let that get in your way, and you embody dreaming big and making your dreams a reality like you have. So curious, how do you do that? Like, what is the recipe? Was it something that you learned over time, or do you think it's an innate ability of yours? And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the self-talk and how you go from dreaming to becoming.
Yeah, I think I always had it in me, but I didn't know how much of it was in me until I was starting to be my authentic self. Because when you are being who you are, it's the best feeling, because then you just want to dream big. And I think I got that from my father. You know, I saw my father, who came from Italy, came here, spoke no English, had a dream of starting a family, making money, supporting his family, and he did all of that. A guy who had, spoke no English, but then he opened his own chain of grocery stores. And I'm like, this guy didn't go to school. How did he do it? He just had he had a vision. And my father is such a hard worker. And the whole thing was, my father would say, I would pay for your school if you guys go to work. I help you pay for your school, you go to work. So we all went to work. We went to work after school, on the weekends. And my dad, he made $50, $25 for him, $25 for the kids. He would just save up for the kids. And it just amazed me. And I'm like, I always had it in me. And it just started when I came out, and I knew that I had a dream, a vision. It's like, I didn't want to be in the grocery stores. This is like Tula from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. This is so her story. Like, she did not want to work at the restaurant.
Oh my God, yes.
I know it is, because she had those glasses on that I would wear too. And she would go, Oppa, Windex, Glen, Orange. But I'm like,
you were so cute. Oh my God, that image of you with the glasses.
And I sent it to Nia Vardarlo, like, who played her, and she like shared it on her Instagram, because I had the glasses and I put it like an image next to her image, and she's like, oh my God, this is my brother. I'm Italian, she's great, but yeah. But yeah, so like, it's just because I always knew there was something bigger, and I love dreaming big. I always say I love Mondays, because you don't know what that week will bring you. It's like, if you dream big and you put it into the universe, whatever it is, an email, a phone call, you don't know what you're going to get back. And maybe it's not going to be that dream, but something else will lead to that. So I think I learned that from my father. He's my role model for that. And I love that feeling of working hard and not giving up. And I know where we are right now, my husband and I. It is so perfect, because he loves what he does and I love what I do. And we're going to keep doing this until the clock stops ticking. Tick, 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 tick.
I mean, it is incredible what your dad built.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, you're one of how many kids?
I have 6 siblings, so we're
6.
7 total.
Yes. And so, like, your family is beautiful. And then each one of your siblings has like 1 million children.
Yeah.
You guys are a big, beautiful Italian family.
I have 17 nieces and nephews total.
Crazy.
Gosh.
It's expensive for Christmas.
I didn't even think
I need to start a GoFundMe. Help me give gifts to my nieces and nephews.
Your family is so beautiful.
I'm like,
it's
I don't
so big.
Stop having kids. We don't need any more humans in this world. We have so many.
But your parents built that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I know.
They really built this like beautiful foundation for all of you to thrive.
Yeah.
And to, I don't know. I love you guys. You guys are so great.
They love you too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, just talking about this a little bit more, you moved to LA. I was talking to your husband, Patrick, about this.
Yeah.
Like, you had the courage to get up and go to LA, get into the entertainment industry, find your calling. You went through heartbreak, Like, you were in a 7-year relationship that came to an end. You also found the love of your life in LA. But these things take a lot of courage and a lot of resilience. And again, like, is it really your, it's your dad, isn't it?
It's my dad, because my dad left his family in Italy to come over here. And I was the first one in my family to leave them because everybody else, it's like my big fat Greek wedding. You live 2 miles within your parents. But I took a chance, and I knew that there's something there this is before Oprah made my dream come true. I went in LA 2001 to work at ABC, to intern at General Hospital, because I love General Hospital. We still watch it. Patrick and I.
My mom loves
my
it.
mom and I used to watch it all the time.
I still watch it. Sonny's
Love
still
it.
on there. Yeah, he's still on it.
He's never going to die.
Yeah. So like, you're right. He's never going to die. No one ever dies on these
No
soap
one does.
operas.
No.
But okay, yeah. So I went there, and I remember saying goodbye to my family. We lived in Glenview. And we had a big area rug in the hallway, and my family was all in a circle, and I had said goodbye to them one by one. And it was so hard. And like, I don't have a good memory of my childhood because I think I blocked so many things, but that I remember because it was such a beautiful moment, because I was going to LA to pursue a dream, didn't know what was going to happen. And I'm leaving my family. I'm leaving my family, and it was hard. It was hard for them. It was hard for me, but it's like sometimes when things you get like it's out of your comfort zone, or if it's uncomfortable, with a new career or something, it's okay. Give it a chance, because when you're comfortable in something, like me being comfortable working in customer service, people complain about returning a gallon of milk because it's spoiled. I'm like, girl, it ain't spoiled. You just had this gallon for 2 weeks after expiration date. But it's like, I was too comfortable there, and it's not what I want to do. So going to LA, it reminded me that I could do this. Like, I could go there by myself. I could meet new people, and it's not bad. It's not bad. It's scary. I cried. I mean, I had a lot of lonely nights, and I didn't know anyone. Like, I remember looking outside the window when I went with my ex, and we stayed at this hotel in Beverly Hills. I remember looking and saying, oh my God. So he leaves. I'm here by myself, and I'm going to be in the city by myself. But I did it. And it's the best feeling ever.
Did you find that in those moments too, you would say, well, my dad left, like you just said that, like my dad left Italy, he left his family, no English, like.
Yeah, and it was hard for my dad because he came to another country.
Right.
I'm going
so
to
if he did
LA,
it.
Beverly Hills 90210, like our
Right.
favorite show, like Brenda, Kelly, like Dylan, like all of them. That's where they're from in 90210.
It's like if he could do it, I could do it.
100%.
I think it's I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I think about like my mom leaving
Yeah.
with 2 little girls as an immigrant. Like, it's like, if they can do it, then you can do it, right?
Yeah.
I have to believe, though, there is something innate as well, right?
I agree. I know.
Because I feel like there are a lot of people that have that opportunity to say, well, my parents or this person did this. That's not enough sometimes, right? So what is it that could potentially prevent somebody from doing something so big like you did? I don't know.
I think if
There's something
they
different.
don't do it, it's because of fear. You get scared, and that's such a big thing in us. Like, if we get scared, oh no, we want to be comfortable. That's too much for me. I can't even think of it. It's But I just think it's when you can just take a chance and just do it. Oh my God, it's the best. I can't even put into words. It's the best feeling ever. And for me, I think I've always had this in me, like I said, but it just coming out was just one of the things. And I just really wanted to dream big. That's how I live my life, just dreaming big. Cause I just love waking up, not knowing what the day will bring you.
Oh, I love that.
And I think you are that person where Patrick and I were talking about this. You're still fearful. You let that fear in, but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
You're like, this is scary, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, one day I'll write a book. There's a lot of scary things I did.
Right?
But I'm so
I know.
glad I did it. Because we wouldn't
You just push right through it. And you're like, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes.
You're so inspiring.
Oh,
I love it.
I love your podcast. I listen to it all the time, every week.
Oh,
Thanks, Paolo.
Yeah, of course.
So family and friends are really important to you. I know that as a fact. And you're one of the most kind, generous, funny, you're freaking hilarious, actually. You're just a loving friend. And with loving as hard as you do comes the loss and emptiness one feels when they lose the ones they love. Can you tell us about a time that you were most afraid, heartbroken, or lonely?
Yeah, I think losing my mom. That's like a big thing. Like, it's been 2.5 years and I lost my mom to glioblastoma, and it just like changed my life. It shook me in a way that it's been a tough week with this grief, and anyone who's grieving, and Angelina, I know you know this, it's like a wave. It just goes up and down. And I think like I think you said this earlier, Lena, when you love so hard, you grieve so hard, and my mom was my everything. I mean, she was the first person that, she was the first one who touched me, and gave me that kiss. And so to see someone who was a huge impact in your life, to see them, in this way, it's hard, but we're all going to go through this. It's like, for me, it came a little bit sooner than I thought. I pictured my mom being like 130, like I didn't picture her being 64, getting sick, and 65, passing away. I didn't picture this. In life, sometimes you have this vision, but it's not what you think it's going to be, and that's okay. So it's like a little detour in my life, but I'm still learning about this grief. I'm trying to understand it, and I just miss her so much. And and Alina, you had that. I know you met her, you've seen her, you saw her at my wedding with Patrick. She's just like, to me, she was
Such
like
a light.
yeah,
Just such a light.
and a beautiful.
Just the most beautiful soul.
She just has such a beautiful energy, beautiful soul.
Always happy. Always smiling.
happy.
She was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, always, yeah,
And I just always felt her love.
yeah.
Like, no matter who she spoke with, like, she was always present. She was always generous with her time and her energy.
yeah,
And you just always felt seen by her in some way. Like, I don't know how she did that, but she really saw you.
like I think the best gift my mom gave me is that, my mom, it was hard for her when I came out at first. Like, it was hard. She didn't, like, it was challenging for her because of what she was raised and how she grew up in a small town in southern Italy, as well as my father. But she was my champion, because she would tell my father, as we were getting closer to our wedding day, that, we have to do this. We have to be there for him. He's just like your daughter. He's our son. And they walked me down the aisle in a church. Like, I say this all the time. It was even in our wedding vows that I thought when I came out that the dream of getting married would be gone, but it's not. Like, it's not. Like, it was even more it was even bigger than I ever could imagine. So having my mom and my dad walk me down the aisle.
So beautiful. It was such a beautiful wedding.
Thank you.
I felt so honored to be there.
Thank you.
I flew out to LA. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm coming to your wedding.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
It was so beautiful. And I know she was always so proud of you. And I know she continues to be proud of you. And she really is your angel.
Yeah.
I believe that.
She's an angel I can call by name, as Oprah Winfrey had said to me. Yeah. An angel I call by name. So.
Yeah, I think I think we've all experienced grief here, and there really is no timeline.
Yeah.
I know some people are like, oh, give it time. I don't even know if it's time, because like, I think you said it best. It comes in waves, and there are just like these micro moments throughout your life where, I mean, it's been decades since my dad passed, and I still have these moments, of what I would call grief. And I really do think that the more you love and the more people you love, the harder you grieve. And I think for me personally, for so long, having experienced grief at such a young age, I sort of blocked getting too close to people and not loving hard, or not really loving a whole lot, because it was just so painful, right? But that's not a way to live life.
Yeah, I remember you said this in one. I think it was in season 1. You talked about your dad, and there's like I felt so connected when you were talking about him, because sometimes we don't talk. It's such a hard thing to talk about. And when you and I, when we meet for dinner, we try to be all uplifting, and we joke around and this, but it's such a thing, grieving, and sometimes it brings you down. But I've learned that when you talk about it, it does help people who are listening, like, because we all have a parent that we're grieving, and it could be 20 years, 30 years, 2.5 years, 4 years. but you're still grieving.
Right.
Because
it can come in different forms,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Like it could be the loss of we talked about this. It could be the loss of a friend who's still alive. It could be the loss of a loved one who's still alive. Like grief doesn't mean that person's passed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could even argue that you can grieve a version of yourself, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, when you came out, I would assume that there was a grief of that previous version of Paolo,
Yeah,
right?
I think I've grieved twice like this. When I came out, I had to lose that person who everyone thought he was. And then I had to grieve, again, the Paolo who was, I always say there's a timeline, the day like before my mom passed away and the day after she passed away. And I can tell in pictures, I can just see something was lost, you know, because like I lost her, but I could see the sadness. But yeah, I grieved that Paolo before because he doesn't exist anymore. This, you know, like, you know, it's like this, I have new challenges now. Things are different. And then I have an amazing husband who has so much patience to like sit there and remind me that, you know, she's around me and that not to be so hard on myself. And, because it can be scary when you're grieving, but a reminder that you're not alone and there's resource out there. And that's why sometimes I do like talking about this and doing videos because the reaction that I get from people saying, thank you, like, you get it. Like, you get me. This is exactly what I was feeling. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yes.
I love that, Angeline. I love that you essentially just mentioned that there was a Paolo before coming out, right? And you have to kind of grieve that Paolo before coming out. And then you were also grieving the Paolo before your mom's passing, right? Because you are a different person before and after. So I love that.
And it can happen, I think, in many different ways. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to grieve the version of me even before getting married because I have a new identity as a wife, right? We are constantly going through evolutions of who we are. And I think it's important. I think there was some podcast I was listening to that had she had a grieving ceremony on you know, when she's trying to step into this new version of who she is and leaving behind a chapter and how important it is to grieve those things too. Grief is not just death, you know, and I think people misconstrue it sometimes, but yeah, there's many versions of grieving.
There is. Thank you for that question.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can end with one last question for you. With a spoonful of Paolo, I'd love to just hear about why you do what you do.
Because the intention is when we interview these celebrities is like, it's really dreaming big. My life changed when Oprah Winfrey came to my dad's grocery store and got me a roll on Will and Grace, a tiny little roll.
If you haven't seen a clip or that video, Google it. It is just
Yes, Google it. I get a residual check every time you watch it. Thank you.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What can they Google?
Just Google Will and Grace season 7 Christmas break episode.
Little plug there.
Yeah.
But just even your face when Oprah came into the grocery store, the pure shock
Yeah.
and maybe joy. I think you were too shocked to be joyful.
I was going to have a heart attack.
You were at the customer service.
I was at customer service.
Oh, it's the best video.
Can you imagine if she came to your work and you were just working and you were having a bad day and you had a pimple on your nose? I had a pimple on my nose. I remember waking up and I said to David, I don't want to go to work. And he's like, no, you're going to go to work because he knew something was going to happen. I had a big pimple on my nose and you cannot see it on the YouTube or on Oprah, the Oprah show because the TV makes me look better. But yeah, but it was huge. I just had to pop it. She could have told me she was coming. I would have popped it.
I just remember her walking in, Paolo.
Yeah.
Where's Paolo?
Yeah.
I'm looking for Paolo.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Amazing.
So
but anyway,
so that moment really, I've never stopped dreaming big. So I feel like with our show, with each guest, I always have a question about where they are, you know, because we're all humans, you know, some people can make it to be the Tom Cruise. Some people can make it to be, you know, on a TV show, but it's just, I feel like it's so inspiring hearing their story and their background. So sitting there asking these questions inspires me. And I know if it inspires me, it inspires anyone else who's watching, because no matter what your dream is, whether it's to do a podcast or a YouTube show or a TV show or, you know, to have a family or to work in some kind of whatever environment, like you can do it. Like, cause I'm no different. It may not happen overnight, but you can do it if it's the dream that's aligned with what you want to do. Cause sometimes I always thought I wanted to be an actor. And then when I was on Will and Grace, I'm like, I do not want to do this. Like, I can't even, I'm like, what do I have to, I have to block what? I have to go there and then say this to Deborah Messing. I'm like, I was a mess. And then I was
Well, you had to do that. Sorry to interrupt.
I had to do that to realize that's not what I want to do. I always thought I wanted to be like Tony Danza on Who's the Boss, you know, like, or Judith Light. But I'm like, I don't want to do this. I just want to use my voice and be who I am. And growing up watching talk shows, like I watch every talk show, like I am a daytime junkie. And so like the Oprah show for me was the show that I watched every day, went to the show twice a year. I remember the audience number to call was 312-591-9222. That number has been disconnected, so don't even try calling because there's no Harpo studio here in Chicago. But I remember, so it's like that show just brings so much life to me. And it's a reminder that no matter what your dream is, anything is possible. You just cannot give up.
Did you always have this presence that you have right now?
Yes.
Like you have such a big, beautiful presence.
Oh, I don't know. Well,
Were you a child with
husband.
that?
He would say,
Yes.
no.
Well, and if you Google or watch any of your videos, every single one of his guests, for the most part, use the word amazing, that you're amazing. They cry. They talk about how it's the best interview they have ever done.
I'm like sweating.
Ever. No, these things are true,
It
right?
is
I'm not making it up.
making it up.
It's the best interview. You just have this ability, and so does Patrick, by the way.
Thank you.
But you really do have this ability to bring out the best in people. And there's just this like genuine, I don't even like, it's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
Right?
Presence.
Like,
That's all. Yeah.
yeah. It's just, you radiate light and love and authenticity.
Listen, if you guys are going to Google my name, like Alina said, Google it's P-A-O. Because people are going to Google P-A-U, and that's Brazilian, Paolo. This is Italian. So if you Google my name like Alina said, it's P-A-O-L-O.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So if it's with an O, it's Italian. If it's with
yeah, because everybody keeps that. Yeah, because Brazilian Paolos are P-A-U-L-O.
Oh,
and that's beautiful being Brazilian. Brazilian men are beautiful.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I'm Italian, so it's P-A-O-L-O.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Paolo Presta.
Angeline, did you know that was P-A-O-L-O?
I did.
Oh,
I did because
okay.
I've
Now
seen
we're
your
friends.
I've seen your
See, we're
podcast.
good. Okay, so yeah,
Also,
that's
people
a true.
should look at our podcast description because we'll have your name on there spelled correctly.
You know how many times
We'll
I'm on
make sure.
someone's podcast and they spell my name P-A-U-L-O?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh my God, you didn't do your research.
No,
That's
spelling
fine.
of names is important.
Why? It's fine. Because my husband told me to be on this person's show. I'm just kidding. All right.
You're the best. All right, so we love to end our episodes with sharing something that's bringing us joy lately. And Paolo, because you are a wonderful guest, do you want to go first?
Oh, I love when you guys do this on your podcast because you two always not fight, but like, no, you go. I'm thinking. I love it. I love it. Like, I do love it. I love it so much. Okay, yeah, I go first. And you don't be thinking what brings you joy. Listen to my answer.
We'll be present.
I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm just going to think off the boat.
That's
okay?
perfect. That's how we do it.
So I think I have two things that bring me joy. The first thing is, I think when I woke up today, I felt like I was going to have a better day because it's been a hard week for me. It's just been, look, not every week is going to be all peachy and sunny like we see on social media with your selfie and you, that beautiful smile. Like this was a bad week for me. But this morning I felt better. I just, and I think, Alina, when you text me too, that beautiful text that it's a beautiful weather and you can't wait to see Patrick and I, it really lifted up my spirits. So that was something so small that brought me joy. So that's number one. And I think number two, I think I've been having joy all this whole time sitting here with you two. It's because I have my husband next to me. And like, he's such a good person. He has a good heart. So knowing that his energy is right next to me makes me so happy. So thanks for letting him be here next to me.
I want to cry.
We love you, Patrick.
We love you. You're the best.
Yeah. So okay.
Patrick,
Thank you for
Patrick
sharing.
is doing hearts.
Yeah.
Hearts.
Hearts.
Thank you for sharing that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to push Alina to go second. We're not arguing.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna say friendships. If I've said this before, I don't care. I'm gonna say it again.
I think you have, but it's
Well,
okay.
I'm gonna keep
It's
saying
okay.
it.
It's bringing you joy.
because I just feel the love from so many of my friends, and you're no different, Paolo and Patrick. I feel really blessed and grateful. I know that not everyone has great friendships, but they just mean the world to me. So I'm joyful because of my friendships.
That's really, I have to say real quickly, like, like when you came to my mom's service, like I remember I text you because I don't like to bother people. I don't want people to feel obligated. But when I text you where it was, I remember you said you were going to be there. And I remember you walking in there, and it just meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot to my family because it was in the suburbs, and you took time because everybody has a busy life, but I appreciate you doing that. So thank you so much. And it's just a heartprint that you left on me that I'll just never forget.
Thanks, Paolo. I loved your mom.
I know.
I love your mom. I love you.
I love you too.
And
Well, I feel a lot of joy right now just from this conversation. I think mine might be around the same. You've inspired me. So I coach on the side, and coaching really brings me a lot of joy because I just had a lovely meeting with a client like 2 days ago. I love hearing people's stories. And when we all need a container where we are able to speak about ourselves. And I don't care who you are. And I just feel so honored that people feel safe enough to like let their guard down with me. And so I'm so grateful. I'm grateful that I'm able to do that on top of everything else that I can do. And yeah, I'm feeling really joyful about that.
thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Well, I think part of that is like when you show your vulnerability, right? Others can be vulnerable with you, and you're really good at that.
Thank you.
Paolo, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can our listeners find you if they want to get in touch?
You can just go to mainly Instagram at Paolo with an O, Paolo Presta, Presta, or you can go to spoonfulofpaolo.com, spoonful, 1L of Paolo with an O.
You love your spelling.
.com. Because it's gonna be one listener like,
one listener.
They're gonna Google like, I can't find it. They're gonna look at some other Paolo Presta with a U, and I'm like, he's in Brazil. I'm like, that's not me.
Well, we're also going to tag him on our Instagram post too. So make sure you go there.
Tag the right one.
Tag the right one. Make sure.
Well, thanks again, Paolo.
Oh, I had so much fun.
And Patrick.
Thank you guys.
Before we sign off, if you've enjoyed this episode and if you like the show in general, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It goes a long way, and it's actually the best way to support our show. With that, that's all we've got for you today. See you next time on Tell Me More and Then Some.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review to help us reach more listeners.
To learn more, make sure to follow us on all the socials at More and Then Some Pod.
Join us for new episodes every Wednesday on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Until next time, stay curious, learn more, and talk about it.